Man, we've been pretty spotty. Uh, there's nothing else to say about that. But it's the end of the school year, and Michael has decided to leave the show because he got a Steam Deck, and I literally had to threaten him with litigation to get him back for this episode of the podcast because look, I'm not doing this by myself. All right, I've tried before, and the conversation that usually goes for an hour only goes for about 20 minutes, and that's if I'm not feeling lazy, right? So, welcome back to another episode of the Nation80 podcast. I'm your host, Rod, with my cousin Mike. Today, we're going to do things a little different. We're just going to have a conversation and just kick it for a little bit because we got some good news today. Like I told you, Mike got his Steam Deck. Congratulations, Mike.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I was already, because of our time difference, you're in Hawaii, I'm here in the States. And, we got a 5-hour time difference between you and I. And, so it's around 11 your time, 11:30, I guess. And it's 4:30 my time in the morning. And, I woke up and I was like, oh man, I got to go to work. But I realized it's the weekend now. And, but then I was like, is there something I should be doing? And I automatically reached for my Steam Deck. And I'm like, nope, 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 nope. We've neglected the show too much because of the Steam Deck. Let's get back into it and let's start recording.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yeah.
It's dominated my life.
So, Mike, tell me. Me and you have been, of course, we're always in communication because we're family. But between you receiving the email, making payment, and it getting shipped out to you, because I think it was in a warehouse in Illinois.
Yeah, so I didn't realize this. So one of Steam Deck's offices or headquarters is in Carroll Stream, Illinois.
Mm.
And I didn't know that until I saw the shipping information. So I guess this is how it really started. So I got an email Monday, okay? And this is last week. All right. So last week I got an email on Monday. It was around 10:30. No, actually, let me take that back. It was at lunchtime because I had just gone to lunch for work. And as soon as I got into the car, turned the car around, was getting ready to drive, I saw a notification pop up on my phone, and it was from Steam. And I was like, oh, okay, great. Another another
Hmm.
item on your wish list is on sale. Cool. But it was like, oh, you have it's your time to do this the Steam Deck reservation. You've got 3 days to purchase it. I was like, wait, can this be real? And I was driving at this moment. And so like I had to resist the temptation to pick up my phone as I'm driving and go through the whole process of purchasing it.
Hmm.
And so I was like, all right, Mike, just calm down. Just calm down. Let's go get our food. Then we'll come back and we'll we'll take care of this. And so got my food, came back to work, and I thought I was gonna go inside, but I instead was like, you know what? I'm just gonna do it right now in my car. Um, and so I opened up the reservation and not on a desktop. And I logging in, and then I had to do this security verification because I don't usually log into Steam on my phone,
Hmm.
um, and so like there was like a little hiccup there, so I got nervous, and so I was like, you know what, bump it. I'm going inside. Let me grab my iPad, and I'll do it on the iPad. So I did, and I finally logged in. Finally got all the payment information put in. So I went with the 256 gigabyte uh, and got that. It ended up being maybe a little over 540, maybe 560. I don't know. I had to look at the receipt, but somewhere it was like 540 or 560 after taxes and shipping. And they were going to deliver it by FedEx. So I put the payment information in, bought it, and then there's it seemed like it took a couple of days from what I heard to have Steam actually ship it. and then
Hmm.
some people were either getting it that week or early the next week. So I had already mentally prepared myself. Okay, you can wait till next week to get it. But man, if I were to get it before the weekend, that would be super dope. And so I waited, got another notification from Steam saying that your item had shipped and that it was coming from Carol Stream. Or actually, no, it didn't even say it was coming from Carol Stream. It just said it was shipped and that you'll get information from FedEx, tracking information. And then I didn't get that information, I think, until uh, Wednesday or Thursday. And then it said, "Oh, your Steam Deck should be here on a Thursday," which I thought was odd because it was like, okay, it just shipped on Wednesday. Where's it coming from? And because I thought Steam or Valve was in Washington, in which they do have their I think their main headquarters is in Washington, Seattle, Washington.
Hmm.
Um, and so I waited and I waited. And then it was like, oh, it'll be here Friday. It's coming from Carol Stream. I was like, well, damn, if it's coming from Carol Stream, that's only like 15, 20 minutes away from me. So I like contemplated like, man, can I just email these guys and be like, yo, can I just come pick this up? But I think it was already in the process of being delivered and shipped or whatever. And it finally arrived on a Friday. So
That's
um,
what's up. So,
yeah.
w- uh, without getting too deep, because I know there's a lot that you have to say. What's so as this has been going on, and you heard Mike has his. I have yet to receive an email, but this was kind of known to happen because even though Michael put me on to the reservation, I didn't jump the gun the same time he did. And then once I realized it was only $5, then I jumped in a couple hours later.
Hmm.
So I'm still waiting for the email, which I believe is going to come early June. So hopefully, this coming Monday, but Monday is Memorial Day. I don't know if we'll be
Oh,
getting
right. Yeah. Yeah.
emails out then, but to be honest, they don't even notify you when they send out emails now. Do you
Right.
remember if yours went out on a Monday or a Thursday?
Yeah. So my email came on a Monday.
Okay.
Um,
So
so I got the email Monday, and then my Steam Deck arrived. I got the email Monday, purchased it on Monday. The Steam Deck arrived on a Friday. Um,
So, I mean, realistically, it's automated anyway. So
yeah,
it's not like they're going to take a day off on Memorial Day and send out emails. So I might get the email on Memorial Day. Who knows?
yeah.
We shall see. But Mike, give me your initial impressions, and maybe if you can give us some quick pros and cons.
All right. So I guess the initial impression, I don't know if I've seen anywhere on YouTube. I'm sure I can if I really look hard. Um, but I don't know where if I've seen anywhere on YouTube or any website that has hated the Steam Deck.
Mm,
Um, for the most part, people are like they either love it or they are cautiously optimistic about it because of there's still issues with it. Um, my initial impression is that this is the most amazing thing I've ever had, ever. And I feel like the last couple of years, with the way we are with tech, um, or where we are at in our society with tech. I feel like I constantly say that. When I got my new iPhone 12 Pro Max, I was like, "This is the most amazing thing I've ever owned."
mhm,
When I got the iPad Pro, this is the most amazing thing I've ever owned. Um, but now that I've got the Steam Deck, I've had time to. I've had this for a little over a week now, or I guess 2 weeks now, um, to play with it. Uh, this is by far the most amazing piece of tech I've ever owned.
mm,
And it's changed how I go about doing things in my life. You and I are family men. We've got day jobs. And so our responsibilities between work and family take up a lot of our time.
mhm,
And it's a miracle that we can even have time to even do this show. And so uh, to be able to find time to sit down and actually play games, for me at least, was okay, get up early on a Saturday or a Sunday. And I mean, when I say early, I'm talking like 0400, okay, 4 o'clock in the morning. Get up early, uh, make sure you have the baby monitor on, uh, go downstairs, put the volume low on the TV, and start playing on your PS4. Uh, and then if it's during the week, grab your Nintendo Switch, take it to work, uh, play it during your breaks. At my work, I get uh, 2 15-minute breaks and then an hour for lunch. And so I'm constantly picking it up and playing it, 15 minutes here, 15 minutes there, or playing for an hour, or trying to play for an hour. It's more like maybe 30 to 45 minutes during lunch. Uh, and so all that has changed for me with the Steam Deck. And my initial impression is that it's amazing. It's an amazing device. And I've only heard one person liken this to another device that I owned way back in the day, and this person's younger than I am. So there's a YouTube channel called Beat 'em Ups. Uh, it's one run by this guy. I don't know his whole name. His name's Wood. He's an Australian dude, really long hair. He's got to be mid to late 20s. And he only talks. I should say only, but 99% of his content is about the Nintendo Switch. Used to be a Nintendo ambassador and everything like that. But he bought a Steam Deck, and he was talking about how the Steam Deck kind of reminds him of the Sega Game Gear. And I was like, holy shit, because that's what the Steam Deck reminds me of. It almost looks like they borrowed kind of from that design or were inspired by that design, and it looks like the Game Gear. And uh I was like, yes, finally somebody is likening it to what I exactly thought it was. So
And I think there's a comparison picture where it's like it's almost borderline close
yeah,
in
it looks like
dimensions.
the Game Gear,
Yeah.
just bigger with a bigger screen.
Hmm.
And so I loved the Game Gear back in the day. That was like my favorite handheld back in the day. And so yeah, this really resonates with me. Pros and cons. I'll start with the cons first. I wish now that I've had it for 2 weeks, I wish I probably would have just gotten the base Steam Deck. Um, with the I can't remember, maybe it was 64 gigabytes,
Yeah, I think so, or
or
128, something like that.
128. Yeah, I think it's probably
Hmm.
128. I wish I had just gotten that and used a micro SD card, because 256 is just not enough. Uh, Especially if you're playing AAA titles, they're usually 50 to 60 gigabytes, and then some of those titles, depending on what they are, so like 2K is like is 100 gigabytes at least.
Hmm.
And that's not to mention all the add-on stuff that you get on with it. Um, so that 256 goes by fast. Uh, so I wish hadn't spent the money, whatever. I spent $530 for the 256 as opposed to $400 for the base model. Um, because essentially they're the same thing, you know. So there's one con. Compatibility is still an issue, although it's only an issue for certain things. And I
Hmm.
think that many people will be too disappointed by it. And I think most of the compatibility issues are with your mid to lower released games. I mean, as far as like date, like if you're playing like a really old game on your Steam Deck, compatibility is probably going to be an issue. Um, but like the newer games that have just recently come out, it seems to work fine. Um, so I think that's an issue. And these are like little issues. These are not even like major issues. I'm trying, and I'm like nitpicking. So I'm trying to figure out, okay, what else are some of the cons? Um, Maybe the brightness of the screen. I did try to on one of my breaks yesterday. It was nice enough outside that I was like, I'm gonna go sit outside and play on my Steam Deck. And it wasn't like really sunny outside. It was cloudy. The sun, you couldn't even see the sun. It's
Hmm.
very overcast. Uh, but the brightness of the screen was definitely, it's not as bright as you would hope it to be.
Hmm.
So, but that's nitpicking. I mean, that's really nitpicking. Pros, man, it's way better than I could have ever imagined. Graphics alone, I mean, it's so many games that I've been playing on here. I just did not think that graphically it would, because it's a small screen and you got to worry about battery life and how good could the graphics be? Like I've been playing Jedi Fallen Order and it looks freaking amazing and it's
Mm,
at a high frame rate. Um, I'm talking like between 30 to 60 frames per second. Uh, and if I were to really tweak the settings, I could hit that 60 frames more consistently. Not that I would most likely tell, but um, unless I put the overlay on. But like the graphics though are, I mean, Tomb Raider, Crisis. I mean, just the graphics are amazing. Um, I showed one of the guys I showed my coworker, uh, and he was just like, dude, that looks freaking amazing for a handheld. And I'm not talking like Nintendo Switch handheld. I'm like, I can't even believe you're playing this handheld. Um, the graphics are amazing. Um, and you know what? Here's another pro. The ergonomics. This
mm,
is the most comfortable handheld I've ever played. In fact,
mm.
yesterday was the first day. I think I sent you a video or a picture at least of me docking it for the first time.
Yeah.
Uh, that's the first time I've ever docked it. And to be honest with you, even though playing it docked was just fine and really it was actually great, um, I think I have a better time playing it undocked. Uh, just because playing like handling it, with the Switch, uh, and I think the way the Nintendo Switch is designed, initially I thought it was like, well, because depending on the size of your hands, it can get kind of iffy with comfortability after maybe 30 minutes to an hour. Uh,
Mhm.
but my Switch is, Jen is really playing with my Switch now. She was playing Mario on it yesterday. And I took my grip off of it. I have a satisfied grip on there. So
Mhm.
it'd be more comfortable for me. Um, I had took it off because I thought, well, she's got small hands. She should be fine. Nope. Nope. I had to put it back on for her because she's like, man, my hands are cramping up. I was like, well, shit, let me put this on. And she's like, okay, that's much better. And so I think ergonomically, the Steam Deck is amazing. I know like when it was first coming out, people were like, man, the buttons are all in a weird place. The B button's kind of hanging off, the D pad's kind of hanging off the edge.
Was
Um,
it a bit of a learning curve with that, or did you kinda
maybe like a day.
mm,
Maybe not. I won't even say a day, like half a day.
mm.
Not even that. It was like 30 minutes, maybe. It's just after you get used to it. Um, because it's got okay, so you got your D pad on the left side with the left stick, and then the right side you got your right stick, and then your X Y A B.
Mhm.
And the sticks are aligned perfectly, so it's not like they're offset um, like the Nintendo Switch. Okay,
Mhm.
it's not like the D-pad and the buttons are offset. They're all on basically one horizontal plane.
Mhm.
And so I know a lot of people are like, "Man, I don't know if that's gonna work," but it works. The trigger and the shoulder buttons, uh, there again, it seemed like it was in a weird place, but it works. And then they've got 4 buttons on the back, um, where your fingers, like where your pinky finger rests.
Mhm.
Um, and again, people are like, "Man, I don't know," but it works. And like, even though you're touching these buttons, you really have to push into them to actually engage them. So it's not like you can accidentally hit them where it's an issue. And then of course you got your 2 little track pads, which is an experience in itself. I would say that is the most learning curve you would have to get used to. Um, but ergonomically, this thing is a beast. Um, what's another pro? So graphics, ergonomics are great. The fact that you can use micro SD to expand your storage. I had already had a micro SD, um, and it was a 256 gigabyte one. I had it for a project for my ironically my PS Vita. Um,
Mhm.
I just never got around to using it, and so I was like, "Well,
Mhm.
I got this micro SD that's never been used." I popped it in, and to play games from that micro SD is you might as I mean, it's so fast that you can still you would be hard pressed to notice the difference between loading games from your micro SD or from the hard drive that's already on the Steam Deck.
Mm,
Um, so there's another pro there. The sound, the speakers, great. The heat and the fan, I think that's a huge thing that gets overlooked. Uh, it does produce heat, especially when
mhm,
you're playing your higher end AAA games. The fan does come on when you're playing your higher end AAA games, and depending on how you have your settings, like I can't wait till you get yours because you have Cyberpunk and Elden Ring,
mhm.
and both of those are verified games, I believe. I know Elden Ring's verified.
I know it is too.
I'm not sure about
I believe
Cyberpunk.
Cyberpunk 2077 is, but I'm not 100% sure on that one.
Um,
But I'm looking forward to giving it a shot on Steam.
but I've watched a video of a guy playing Cyberpunk, and I guess Cyberpunk has an actual setting in the game for the Steam Deck, and he
Mm,
was like, oh, actually, it was from the same guy, Wood from Beat 'em Ups,
mhm,
and he was like, man, this is garbage. Frame rate is terrible. But he had talked about going onto Reddit, and everybody was like, "Yo, just don't use the Steam Deck settings. Just go into the game and put the settings on low or put them on medium." And his experience completely changed, and it was like he might as well been playing on his gaming PC.
hmm.
Um, but with those graphically intense games, the fan comes on, you're producing more heat. With the way the Steam Deck is designed, um, you've got two vents. There's a vent on top of the Steam Deck, and there's a vent on the bottom right of the Steam Deck, and they're pretty large grills. Um, none of it, none of it are where your hands are. And
Hmm.
so you had asked me this question earlier in the week about heat and thermals, and I wanted to wait until I played it for at least a solid hour. And
Mhm,
so I did. And yeah, if you touch the very back of the Steam Deck where the screen is, man, yeah, you can feel some heat,
mhm.
definitely for sure. Um, but when you're playing, you don't, I mean, where your hands are at, you
You're
can't
not
feel any of
positioned
it.
in such a
Nope.
way
Yeah,
that
you
you
can't feel
can.
it. You
Hmm.
can't feel it at all. And the fan itself, let me put it this way. So I have a Lenovo Y740 P. Okay, and it's a
Mhm.
gaming laptop. I love it, but at the same time, I hate it because the power brick is huge, and when the fan comes on, Jen will say that it sounds like an airplane taking off, and it literally does. The fan is loud as fuck. It's
Shoot,
got
I
two,
remember I was gonna say I remember the old ones that me and you had,
yeah,
and it's the same way,
yeah,
especially when we play like GTA 5 and a few other games
oh
on.
for sure. And granted, it's got two GPUs in it, whatever. Um, but the Steam Deck, yes, the fan turns on and you can hear the fan, but, like, you wouldn't ever notice the fan unless you're in a private setting with no headphones on, there's no other noise going on, like, it's that silent, like,
Mhm.
if you're just in a regular room with your family and they're watching TV or the girls are doing whatever they're doing, um, you're not gonna hear the fan. You'd be hard pressed to hear the fan. So yeah, man, those are my first impressions. Like it's just it's a beast of a machine. It surprises me every day with what it can run. I mean, I'm playing Halo right now, the remastered um, collection, and I've had so much fun, and I can't wait until I. So I'm still playing the first one. I can't wait. It's to get into the next couple of Halo games because it's so much fun to be able to play this and pick it up and go. So I'll give you one more pro. Uh,
Mhm.
the suspended play. So you push the power button, it turns off or goes to sleep wherever you're at in the game. So just like the Nintendo Switch, it does exactly what the Nintendo Switch does. And then what I guess the new next generation consoles do. You power it off or put it into sleep, and you could just pick up wherever you were at. And it's the same case with the Steam Deck. It's so amazing to just okay, break is over, hit the power button, turns off, put it down, go to work. Oh man, I got 15 minutes here. All right, we turn on, play a game, come
And it's
home.
already, you don't have to load it up at all.
Yeah, no.
Mm.
here's a use case scenario. Elias does MMA, and so
Hmm.
he practices. He's got classes like almost every day of the week,
Hmm.
and most of those classes are around 5. So by the time I get off of work, when I'm rushing home, it's to get home so that Jen can take Elias to practice, and I'll stay home with the baby. And she's
Hmm.
usually going down for a nap. So I get home, she takes Elias to practice. Uh, I put the baby to bed to take a nap. I come sit down, and I just turn on my Steam Deck, and I play it for like 15 or 20 minutes. Okay, time to get dinner ready. Fuck. All right, turn it off. Start getting dinner ready. Pasta's running for 10 minutes. Cool. Let me grab the Steam Deck real quick. Pop it back on and start playing it. And like
Uh,
it's freaking amazing.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
It's freaking amazing. So those are my impressions, man. I think this is it's one of those rare instances where this could really revolutionize how people play, especially if you're a person that has time dominated by other things, whether it be by
Hmm.
family or career or other passions and
Hell,
uh,
transit. Like
transit. Yeah. Oh
like
yeah.
if you commute and you take the train, this might be the ideal solution for you.
Yeah. So
Things.
I guess one con is battery life. And I don't even know how much of a con it is, depending on who you are.
Hmm.
You're not going to get Nintendo Switch battery life.
Hmm.
If you're playing Elden Ring, you may get an hour to an hour and a half of battery life. Okay.
Hmm.
Um, with that said, though, it is USB-C. You can hook up your power bank to it. You can hook up I have my Anchor 60-watt fast charging adapter. I've hooked it up to that. It's not proprietary like the Switch. With the Switch, you really got to be careful about what you hook up to it.
Hmm.
I only hook up official Nintendo Switch power banks to it. With the Steam Deck, you don't got to worry about it. You hook up any fucking thing. Uh, so the battery life can be an issue, especially if you're playing really graphically intense games. Uh, but like I've been playing Halo, and I've gone well over a day without charging it.
Mm.
So battery life can be an issue depending on who you are, and if you need to play it for more than I don't know who's playing even on their Switch. I assume there people are, even if they're commuting. I don't know who's
Hmm.
playing their Steam Deck or their Nintendo Switch for 3 to 4 hours at a time. I don't know
Yeah,
who
I
has
mean
that
that's
time.
gotta be a long road trip. Even
Yeah,
so, I still, even I remember being younger, I couldn't play a Game Boy for 3 to 4 hours
right.
without having to rest my eyes.
And even if you are, like I said, you hook a power bank to it.
Hmm.
I have a 26,000 milliamp battery, um, and that thing will charge the Steam Deck, my iPad, my phone for multiple charges, uh,
Hmm.
without blinking an eye. And so, can it be a con? Yeah. Has it been an issue for me? Nope. So yeah.
Hey, I mean, so it's gonna be interesting because I can't wait to get mine so we can kind of try to mess around with you know, uh just seeing what online gaming is like and things of that nature, because that'd be kind of interesting. Um to see if that how well that works out. I have my Anchor right here. So whenever I have two of them, matter of fact. So when I go to Indiana, I have all that stuff ready for this long ass flight that's coming. But that's super exciting. Well, number one, it's positive to hear because you know we were a bit skeptical that the first release systems were going to have a copious amount of issues, and that by the time it got to us, we are really asking ourselves, should we get now or should we wait another year so they can work out all the bugs? But
Right.
I will admit, from what I've seen, other than a few things, um, it wasn't a lot of major bugs that hit the system like others, right? Don't get me wrong, there was updates, but it wasn't a lot of catastrophic bugs. So I remember when, I don't know, for example, Xbox 360 came out and some of them were bricking, and I don't know,
Right. You
there
had the
was
red
all.
ring of death, and
Yep, yep,
the
yep. You have
Nintendo
all
Switch
these.
had, of course, still continues to have all these drift issues.
Yep,
Um,
absolutely. And I remember when the Steam Deck first came out, and they were like, "Oh shit, we see drifting issues," and Steam was quick to go, hold on, Playboy. All you need to do is this, and you're back on track." And
Yeah,
I
they
haven't
put an update
seen.
out real quick and
Yep,
haven't
yep.
heard it ever
And
since.
and and I'm on Twitter a lot, um, using the company account, and I see Steam Deck does a lot. They inform of a lot of updates and stuff like that, which is cool. So can't go
Yeah, I
wrong there.
that's one thing I'll say. My unboxing experience, it's weird. So like there are obviously other handheld PCs that are out there.
Hmm.
And I've watched the reviews on them, and they're all easily double to triple the price of the Steam Deck. I mean, you're
Right.
paying $1,500 to $2,000 on some of these gaming PCs, and none of them have people ever been like, "This is the ultimate handheld gaming PC." And
Hmm.
most of it is because of the software and the UI. Uh, they have better hardware. They might have better hardware than the Steam Deck, uh, but the UI, the software, is so radically different and is so seamless. Like I mean, the experience that you get with the UI is amazing. And I feel like I've yet to scratch the surface because there are so many people doing all kinds of stuff with the Steam Deck. Uh,
Hmm.
Eventually I want to get into the emulation game. And actually, I just found this out yesterday. So I usually for my PS Vita, when I emulate on my PS Vita, I use RetroArch. Um, and I just found out yesterday that Steam actually has RetroArch on their site. So you can actually download RetroArch from Steam. You don't have to do any kind of crazy stuff. You just download RetroArch and you can just start putting your ROMs on. And so that's my next step is to start
Hmm.
getting my ROMs onto the Steam Deck. So that's cool. You mentioned whatever issues there were when it first released have been fixed. That is so true. Steam Deck is one of those companies. I should say Steam Deck, Steam, Valve are one of those companies where they actually listen to the people. Hey man, we got this issue. All right, cool. Let's get a team on it. They put out an update and it's fixed. So like the drift, there's an issue with the drift. It wasn't a hardware issue; it was a software issue. Steam put out an update. You haven't heard anything since. Um, and let me say, like the sticks compared to the Nintendo Switch,
Hmm.
my goodness, I am so delicate when I play my Nintendo Switch handheld because of drift, and I don't want to break the damn sticks.
Because
Uh,
you still use just your Joy Cons, right?
yeah, yeah,
Because I was gonna say I went to the ones I went to,
yeah,
and
the big old hoary
yep,
Joy Cons,
and I'll never go back. I'll
right?
never go back.
So I will say the sticks on this deck are freaking amazing. I don't have to worry about. I don't worry about that I'm going to break them. Let's put it that way. Uh,
Hmm.
they look solid. They look amazing. They look and feel amazing. Um, Whereas in the Switch, it's just like, man, I don't break these. Um, that's another thing. Size. Always I always hear people say like when they get their Steam Deck, oh, it's huge, it's massive. Yes, it's big, but like in your case with those hoary game pads
Hmm.
on it's I would imagine that it's almost exactly the same size.
Mm.
It's almost and it just looks better.
How's that storage case? Is it pretty good?
Oh, it's amazing. It's a hard shell. This case is amazing. So it
Hmm.
fits perfectly. It's got like a little tab that you put the Steam Deck on so that when you open the case, you just pull that tab and the Steam Deck just opens up to you. So you don't have to like try to dig it out of the case because it's very like ergonomically fitted to the Steam Deck. Um, And with this tab, you just pull on the tab and it starts to raise the Steam Deck for you. So you don't have to like put your fingers in there and start digging in to get it out.
Mm.
Um, and it's a hard shell. You can knock on it, whatever. I mean, it's protected. You know, uh, all these other, a lot of companies invest a lot in the box, I guess, experience.
Hmm.
I mean, you look at Apple. Like Apple's always got this premium box experience with their devices, right? Um, Look, the Steam Deck came in a FedEx box that said had a hazard warning for lithium battery, and you open it up, and it's literally just that. You open it up, and there's the case. Then you open the case, and there's the Steam Deck. That's it. It's very simple, and I can get down with that. I love that. It's not a crazy expensive. They didn't add on another $50 to the price to have you have a boxing experience. I don't give a crap about the boxing experience.
Yeah, man, if you really think about it, kind of hitting that price point real quick, uh, from the amount of technology we've seen to have gotten, and like you kind of mentioned, Apple products previously, even some Android products, like the price that this came in at for what it's giving, is quite an impressive feat.
Yeah,
I don't even know if they're making, excuse me, if they're making money off of it at the moment, or if it's just one of those things we're getting the word around and now all the other stuff. Because I don't know, Mike, how deep have you gotten into the third party accessories? Like I know you mentioned before you was trying to go on D brand and possibly get a
right.
skin for it.
Yep.
And I haven't really looked myself, so I don't want to make it seem like I've been on the hunt. But just in the sense of third party accessories for it, I don't know if there would be much because it's not like the controllers are detachable and stuff like that. I
Right.
would think it'd be more of maybe your hard drive and SD card and maybe changing the skin. I'm sure I can't remember the name of that site back in the day that used to paint your system
Yeah.
and make it look all nicer. You get it in another color. I'm sure they do it, but then you're paying another premium price just to
Mhm.
do all that stuff.
So I will say that the accessory market for third party is more. It's not like the Nintendo Switch. Just like I said, it's not like the game pads come off or anything. There's no Joy Cons. Um, so yes, there's D brand, and yes, you can get a skin. I've been hesitant to get one just because the colors they got out right now, I'm not really feeling. I don't understand why they do certain colors for certain devices and like certain colors for other devices or patterns. So I guess a prime example would be the Nintendo Switch. They have two different types of colors. They have like your pastel looking colors, so kind of like soft bright. They almost kind of look like apple colors, pretty much. So you'll get blue, but it's not like a true blue. It's kind of like a powder blue, a pastelly looking blue. Um, but then they have their solid colors uh, that are more radiant, and uh, they don't do that for all the devices. So right now for Steam Deck, they only have the pastel colors out. Um, and then of course they have their patterns or whatever. So I'm kind of waiting. D brand though is, however, they are working on it looks like a more it's a slimmer case that almost kind of it's almost kind of like a really tight fitting clamshell that you can put onto your Steam Deck. There's not a whole lot of details on it. If you go to the website, it kind of gives you some pictures, and then you can reserve it for like $3 for whenever it eventually comes out. Uh, but as far as third party accessories, that's pretty much it. Uh, unless you go to, so like you said, hard drive stores, you can upgrade the internal storage of the Steam Deck. And if you go to ifixit.com, they actually have a whole web page dedicated to uh, tearing down and replacing parts for the Steam Deck. And in fact, they actually sell replacement parts for the Steam Deck. And if you're not familiar, ifixit.com is a very popular website where they break down all kinds of devices and they sell all kinds of replacement parts and tools. I actually own one of their tool sets. Um,
Yeah, I had one back in the day. I remember they used to be primarily like only Apple products, but I think they ventured out
Yeah, they
from
pretty
that.
much do everything now. Like
Hmm.
they're very comprehensive. I don't want to say it's easy stuff that you can do, but they have difficulty levels.
Yeah.
If you want to replace a the thumbsticks on your Switch or your Steam Deck, they have a guide for that. It's a step by step. It's and don't disrespect. It's very army proofed. And so uh,
all disrespect taken. But no, going
not military people would not get that.
so just real quick, Michael, just kind of looking, I kind of took a look at PC Gamer and just looked at the accessories for the Steam Deck, at least what they're talking right now. And basically it's just your standard PC stuff: mouse, keyboard,
Right.
earbuds,
Right.
and then if anything, the only, I think, thing outside of the norm is a portable monitor that you can
Right.
buy. It's pretty
Right.
cool.
Yeah.
But it's the whole thing is that it's supposed to be mobile,
Yeah.
right? So, like personally, I look at this and to me, this looks more cumbersome than productive.
Right.
So
So
it's one of those things.
I'll say this. Like I said, yesterday was the first day that I uh docked my Steam Deck.
Hmm.
And
Sorry, Mike, because you say you docked it, and then I know the dock isn't out personally yet. So
yes.
how, just give us a breakdown how you set it up for docking.
Okay, so for like the Nintendo Switch people out there, um, it's not like so Steam is coming out with their own proprietary dock or whatever, where it will look kind of like a dock for, I should say a dock like the Nintendo Switch, but um, it'll be something that you could just plug your Steam Deck into, and it'll have a bunch of different I/O or inputs and outputs, and plug them into, and you play your Steam Deck like it's an actual gaming PC or whatever. Okay.
Hmm.
Um, so for me, it was you can do this with anything. It doesn't have to be an actual computer dock. It could just be a USB-C dongle. And so for me, I am a huge fan of Anchor. They don't just do power supplies and power banks, they also make USB docks. And I have a USB C dock for my iPad. Uh, it's got HDMI ports, it's got USB A ports. I want to say it even has a LAN port in there to plug into your Ethernet cable. It also has micro SD and SD card slots in it. So it was meant for plugging into a laptop or plugging into my iPad. And I could expand. The whole reason was that I bought it so I could expand the capability of my iPad.
Mm.
I could hook up a hard drive I could hook up my solid state hard drive to this dock and edit videos off of that solid state drive off the dock instead of putting the videos onto my iPad. Because it's USB-C, I actually just hooked it up into my Steam Deck, and I plugged in my monitor to one of the HDMI ports, and I Bluetoothed my Xbox controller, and I was good to go. And it worked.
Awesome.
It worked very well. In fact, I took a video. I meant to send it to you guys. I had to. It's weird. So, like with the Steam Deck, unlike with the Nintendo Switch, where you Bluetooth a controller, and you dock it, or actually, yeah, when you dock the Nintendo Switch, you cannot use the Joy Cons if they're attached to the Switch. Okay, you got to
Hmm.
take the Joy Cons off. Okay, in order to use those Joy Cons. With the Steam Deck, if you dock the Steam Deck, you can still use the game pads on the Steam Deck because it still defaults to that as the number one controller. And so when I Bluetoothed my Xbox controller to it, it recognized it as the second controller. So when I loaded into Halo, nothing was working. I didn't understand why. It took me about 10 minutes to realize that I could reconfigure the order of the controllers and make the Xbox controller the number one controller when it's hooked up.
Mm.
So yes, you can buy any, my dock from Anchor maybe costs like $60. You can
Hmm.
buy a $20 thing from Amazon, like an Amazon Basics one. As long as it's USB-C and hook it up to your Steam Deck, and as long as it can hook up to a monitor, you're good to go. Yes, you
So,
can hook up.
Mike, before we, sorry to cut you off, but before we go I mean, before we close this conversation on the Steam Deck, will you, as someone who's been an avid Switch uh, consumer for so long, has the Steam Deck taken over, or do you feel like there's still room for your Switch?
Yeah, so it's crazy. I have like 80 games on my
Hmm.
Switch right now. And I feel like maybe 30 to 40% of those games are games I used to own or games that I currently own on Steam.
Hmm.
So like BioShock, uh, Doom, uh, trying to think some of the other ones. But they're all games that I've, Crisis, all games that I've were excited to have on the Switch. Um, but games I already own, Outer Worlds, games I already own on Steam.
Hmm.
Um, and I bought them for the Switch because at the time I could have just log into my computer and start playing these games. So I bought them on the Switch because I knew I could play them at work. Uh, and so now that that avenue's gone, okay, well, the other 30% of the games that I have on my Switch are indie games. I love my indie games. Um, but all those indie games are are on Steam. They've been out on Steam for years. I'm coming to find out, you know. So okay, that's 60% of the games I own or have are on Steam now. Uh, so what's that? What does that leave? That leaves the Nintendo games. Um, the last 30% or whatever. Okay. Um, the last third of the pie. Uh, I'm not a guy that plays Mario, but I do play Zelda. I do play Metroid. Um, I do play Luigi's Mansion. All great, great, great games. Um, so has the Steam Deck taken over? Yeah, absolutely.
Hmm.
Will I sell my Nintendo Switch? No. Just
Well, I
because,
wouldn't figure that, but I
yeah,
guess like utility wise, it
yeah. I
seems
think
like
I
I.
will say like utility wise, it's no longer in my everyday carry.
Hmm.
Utility wise, um, Jen has started to play. She's been playing Mario on there, like old school Mario from
Mm,
um, the original Nintendo, and Super Nintendo. So yeah, it's definitely taken a backseat.
mhm,
I don't necessarily see myself like I the Nintendo Classic subscription that I have, I paid for it for the year, so I
mhm.
don't pay monthly for it. Um, if it weren't for that, I wouldn't pay the subscription anymore because I just don't play my Switch. Um, and even though I'm not a guy that completes games. I'm
Mhm.
very like, ooh, the new game is out and I play that, and then ooh, another new game is out and I play that.
Yeah.
Um, I have yet to finish Zelda. Yet to finish it. I don't even
Yeah,
think I've broken 10% of that game yet.
I'm
Um,
I'm I'm in the same boat as you,
yeah,
man. And then I will mention just due to and here's the thing, it's Elden Ring does the same thing, but for some reason it makes sense in Elden Ring and it doesn't make sense in Zelda. Zelda doesn't tell you where to go. And I
right,
get so annoyed with it that I
right.
put it down, right? And I know some people go, "Man, you really need to be told to go." Yes, I am that guy, right? But for some reason in Elden Ring, it's not a complication. But freaking Zelda, it is. It is what it is.
Yeah, so like uh, there's one game that, and I know that they're working on this, um, but there's one game that I will go back to the Nintendo Switch for, and that's Hypercharge. Um,
Mm,
and that's a game I've told you it's basically Toy Story and Small Soldier wrapped in one. It's a first person shooter, or you can do third person shooter with it. Uh, but it's a shooter game slash uh, I can't think of the genre, but basically builder. You can build your base defenses, tower defense type of game.
Hmm.
Um, and it's extremely fun. It's I play it with Elias all the time. We love that game. It's also on Steam. Uh, there's just no crossplay yet.
Hmm.
Uh, as soon as there is crossplay, whew, man, the Switch is going to be collecting dust. I hate to say it. I actually have had thoughts that I might actually sell my Switch and downgrade to the Switch Lite.
Hey man, the Switch Lite is where it's at.
Yeah,
If I would, um, if it wasn't for the fact that I bought these Wari controllers, I would have bought another Switch Lite because of the whole drifting issue.
yeah,
But my daughter has a Switch Lite, and I think it's amazing.
yeah.
Matter of fact, I even think it's better than the actual Switch. I think the only downside is screen size, but
Right,
that doesn't
right.
that's not a big condition for personally for me when you're going mobile with these systems or whatever. But yeah, I would. I'm all for them Switch lights, and I don't remember. I don't believe they have any issues at all. There's no drifting. There's no battery issues.
Hmm.
Um, and I believe they've been upgraded once or twice. I don't remember,
Okay.
but
Yeah,
yeah.
I guess where I'm at right now is I'm gonna treat my Switch like a PS Vita right now.
Mm,
Where there are gonna be days where I hanker for playing my PS Vita and the
hmm.
games that I have on there. Uh, and when I don't, I put it in the case and put it in the display case and call it a day.
So are the kids allowed to play the Steam Deck?
Hell no. Hell no. Elias has already asked me. But you know what though? He don't even he doesn't even understand that it's that much better.
Mm,
Because he of course has his own Switch. Um and he has the Hori, game pads.
hmm.
Uh although he's destroyed them
Mm,
multiple times.
yikes.
Because he gets upset when he loses in Fortnite and throws his Switch. And I'm like, you break that Switch, you ain't getting another one. I'll tell you that.
Yeah.
Um, but he hasn't been like, oh, Mike, can I play your Steam Deck? Um, so it hasn't been that much of an issue. Uh, just because I think that he's so into Fortnite. That's the only thing that he cares about. Um,
Hmm.
I rarely see him playing any other games. Uh,
Hmm.
so unless it's the weekend and like he'll want to play Star Wars, the Lego Star Wars game with me because that's co-op. But other than that, all he wants to do is play Fortnite with his friends.
Mm,
So he's at that age where he doesn't really care or understand what it's like to come from a Nintendo Game Boy to go
yep.
from the Game Boy. God, can you remember to go from the Game Boy to the Steam Deck? Where we're at now, man, I'm
Yeah.
telling you, it is amazing. Um,
Technology has changed so much, and
yeah,
then just think about it. Even though Valve, I'm just putting it out there. I know Valve isn't probably got this right in their situation at the moment, but you somehow implement this with a phone, that a decent phone situation, and it's going to be, it's just gonna, it just puts them in another bracket
right.
when it comes to people out there, right?
Well, yeah, like if you give it, so like my iPad has 5G data on it,
Hmm.
right? I would pay, let's say another $200
Yeah.
just to get a data plan
Hmm.
on the Steam Deck. I'd pay that. $700 for a Steam Deck? Yeah, sure, I'll pay that. Look,
Hmm.
I'm telling you right now, I haven't tried this out yet. The one game I've been wanting to play that I haven't played is Project Cars yet. Um, I haven't played it yet. I'm going to do that this weekend because
Mm.
that's a game that you and I have loved, but it's a game that takes time, you
Yeah.
know. And I feel like this is a perfect system to play Project Cars on. You're in the middle of a race, pause, put it on, stand by, do whatever you gotta do, come back, unpause, do it again. Um,
Yeah.
I cannot wait until you get yours and see what you think about the graphics. The graphics to me are amazing. It's amazing to me that I can play my Batman games. Here's a quick story. When I
Mhm.
first initially booted up the system, it takes about 15 minutes to boot up the system, have it do its thing, whatever. Um, and then the first game I downloaded was Arkham Asylum. No, not Arkham Asylum, Arkham City.
Mhm.
Okay, so it's the second Batman game, and that's the first thing I downloaded. Hit play because it said it was verified. Hit play, it didn't work. I was like, "Oh God,
That's right,
oh
because you sent
God."
me and you sent me a video
Yep,
and it didn't work.
did not work. And I was like
Yep.
freaking out. I was like, "Oh no, this is the
Mhm.
compatibility issues that people were having. They're talking
Yep.
about whatever."
Mhm.
So initially, I went on to like Reddit and everything like that, and they're talking about like, "Oh, it's gonna open up in a certain Windows mode and this and that," but they're still working on it. Literally,
Mhm.
the next day, it started working.
Huh.
Haven't
That's
had an
cool.
issue since.
So let me ask you this. Okay, so and you might not have gotten this far with it. You might have been just giving it its paces in regular mode. But mind you, the Steam Deck, of course, being made for Steam, but we have our EA out there, Epic, and a few other I can't think of off the top of my head,
Mhm.
gaming, even the Xbox Game Pass. Have you tried to implement that at all on your Steam Deck, and was it successful?
Okay, so yeah, I know exactly where you're going with this. So like for um Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order, okay, you
Hmm.
have to log into your EA account or
Sure.
Origin, whatever.
Hmm.
Okay. Um, Not a big deal if you're on your PC, you type in your shit, whatever. It's a launcher, right? So you gotta
Hmm.
log into the launcher just so you can do whatever.
Hmm.
Um, and a lot of these here, okay, man, this is a whole other thing. All right, so this is how it works. If you have a game that needs a launcher, um, it'll most likely say it's not a verified game. Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order is not a verified game. Um, for games that are not verified, the first time you play that game, it pops up a screen that says, "Look, this is what's verified, and this is what is not verified. I should say that this is what works, and this is what doesn't work, or this is what you might have issues with." Um, and so that's what it does for Jedi Fallen Order, and it says, "Look, gameplay works, graphics work, everything works, except when you go into the launcher, you might have to use the on-screen keyboard to log in." That's it. That's the only reason
Mm.
that keeps it from being a verified game. And so when you start Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order and it brings up that launcher, okay, you got to log into your Origin account. It pulls up a fucking thing. Okay. All you do is hit the touchscreen and um, go into the login. It pulls up a keyboard. You type in your credentials. You hit enter, and you're good to go. That's it. Um, You never have to do that again. And so that has been the compatibility. I've been playing. Man, let me open this real quick.
Mhm.
Okay. Um. Oh, I'm already in Halo. Let me save and quit. So the compatibility. You have verified. You have unverified. Uh, Man, I don't even know if you can hear this. Can you hear that?
Yeah, I hear it.
That's fucking Halo, bro.
That's what's
Uh,
up.
Okay, so let me exit out of this. Let me go to the game store. Okay, so library. Let me just go to my library. All right, filter. Okay, so you have verified only, verified and playable, verified, playable, and untested,
Mhm.
and then you have a thing that says Steam Deck doesn't run well. Okay, and it you can go through your library and filter it that way. I just have it on all games, whatever. If I go to my installed games, so I have 7 Days to Die on here, um, and 7 Days to Die is not a verified game. But if I go to the game info and go to the details, it tells you All functionality is accessible. This game shows Steam Deck controller icons, in-game interface text is legible. The game default graphics configuration performs well on Steam Deck. The only issue is that the game launcher setup tool may require the touchscreen or virtual keyboard, or have difficulty to read text. That's it. That's the only thing that keeps it from being verified. It's not that it won't run on the Steam Deck. It's just that you might have to use a keyboard every now and then. What's another one? What's one that? Borderlands 2.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, Borderlands 2 is it has so it says unknown. Okay, so it has a circle with a question mark on it, and so it doesn't give you anything. I've played Borderlands 2, haven't had any fucking issues with it. None of the issues. And I think that's just because Steam has such a huge library. It's hard for them to get to that shit yet. But I haven't had any issues with Borderlands 2. What is one that well, I guess I haven't done Grand Theft Auto yet. So Halo. Here's a prime example. Halo is a game that says unsupported. Okay. Valve's testing indicates that this title is unsupported on Steam Deck. Some or all of this game currently doesn't function on Steam Deck. And then it gives you a little note at the bottom. This game's anti-cheat is not configured to support Steam Deck. So basically what that means is when I launch Halo Remastered, it'll give me two options. It'll say, do you want to play Halo the Master Chief Collection, or play Halo the Master Chief Collection anti-cheat disabled, mods and limited services. So I put it on play Halo anti-cheat disabled, and it works perfectly fine. Okay, but if I were to play Halo Master Chief Collection, it freezes at there's an icon that comes up, or a screen that comes up that says anti-cheat, whatever it is, and then it just freezes there, and then you don't even get to the main menu. But if I just do Halo anti-cheat disabled, it works completely fine. I have not had an issue with it.
So just and I might have missed it. So for example, let's say if you wanted to play The Division 2 on your Steam Deck.
Okay.
It doesn't pop up in your Steam Deck library. So you will have to go to the Epic launcher.
So I don't know if I have.
And I know that might be a bit out there. While you were talking, I did take a look on YouTube, and I saw people showing Fortnite working on the Steam Deck, but I didn't get to see how they got it running and all that good stuff. But
well, so I don't have The Division. It's not in my library.
Yeah.
But if let me go to the store real quick. Oh, that's right. I have the airplane mode.
And it's just more of a curiosity. It could be any game from Epic, where it's just like, does it show up on your menu of games or
any? So I will say this. So yes, you can have games. Obviously, if you're playing on your PC, there are games that will show up in Steam that are not Steam games, right? Let me see if I don't know why that's doing that. Anyway, so Steam Deck can't reach the servers. So basically, I'll have to restart. I'll have to look at that. But from what I understand, this is a gaming PC. It's a PC, so it's a Linux-based operating system. And you should be able to run whatever, whether it's Epic or EA or whatever, you should be able to run that from the Steam Deck. I don't know if The Division is on Steam. If it is, I'll try it out. But like I said, like for Tomb Raider, for Jedi Fallen Order, where it requires a launcher that is from Origin. So like Far Cry, I know um, will require an Origin. Um, uh, that update or that launcher, you use the virtual keyboard to log into. Um, okay, so let me go into the store real quick. And let me see if NBA 2K is $60. Nope. Oh man, but Ace Combat 7 is only $12. Holy cow. Um, wow, I might just buy that right now. Anyway, so let me see if the Division is on here. I don't think it is, but um to answer your question, uh it should operate fine. Um
Hmm.
and like you said, the community out there.
Hmm.
Okay, so the Division is not on Steam. Um, with that said, uh, yes, you should be able to go into whatever launcher it is, um, and be able to play that game and have no issues. It might not be optimized for the Steam Deck, but
Hmm.
you can configure it. Here's the thing: if it were to switch, you'd be stuck. Right? You have to wait for an update. You have to wait for developers to optimize the Switch for the Division. Uh, but with the Switch, it's really just a PC. Uh, and they give you so much control over what you can do with the Steam Deck that you could just configure it however you need to configure it, uh, and call it a day. And I can't foresee an issue that ever being an issue. Um, it's not a hardware issue. It's just if you're a PC gamer, you already know no matter what kind of system you got to make some tweaks. Um, and so it's just the same thing with this. You just gotta have to make
Right.
some tweaks. Um,
Hmm.
and so I think it's better to do that if it's docked. That way you have access to your keyboard and your mouse. And then once you get it configured to the way that you want it configured, you just undock it, you're squared away, you're good to go.
Hmm.
Uh, so I can't see that really being too much of an issue. Um, like I said, I haven't tried that out yet. Uh, from what I've seen for Steam games that require a launcher, you just pull up the virtual keyboard, log, and then put your credentials in, and then you're good to go. Um, and so, and even with that said, like you can within Steam, the way you can configure stuff is phenomenal. Uh, and they give you tools. So like you could put a data overlay to see how many frames per second you're working with. So like some of the Crisis games are not verified. Crisis 2 is, but the original Crisis isn't. Uh, and Crisis notoriously is a very system intensive game. So I haven't played the original one yet on my Steam Deck. I'll probably do that today just to test it out. Uh,
Hmm.
but I do want to make a video about that kind of stuff because I think that's an interesting question. I think for the most part, it's like, okay, well, who's the Steam Deck for? Right now,
Yeah.
it's really for PC gamers. Okay.
Hmm.
You'd be hard pressed to. I can't recommend my colleague getting a Steam Deck right now because he's a Nintendo Switch guy. Uh,
Hmm.
he just wants to be able to fucking pick up his Switch, turn it on, play a game, call it a day. Um, and for 90% of the time, I think you could do that with the Steam Deck, especially with the newer games. Uh, whether it be Jedi Fallen Order or Red Dead Redemption 2 or God of War, some of these PlayStation, games uh, that are verified. That's crazy to me that they're verified. I'm actually trying to decide what AAA game I'm going to get. Is it going to be, Horizon New Dawn? Is it going to be God of War? None of those games I finished.
Yeah.
Uh, is it going to be Red Dead Redemption 2? I haven't even played that game yet.
It's a great
Uh,
game. It's a
uh,
very great game, but it's huge.
yeah, yeah. Elden Ring. Am I gonna play Elden Ring? I don't know. If
Mhm.
it's got spiders in it, I'm not fucking playing that game. Um, so uh
I have to keep an
But
eye out for you. I don't believe there's anything hardcore
okay,
spider wise,
because
unless you don't.
I've seen your videos, and I'm like, man, that looks like a fun game to play. I just don't
Yeah,
have time to play it.
yeah.
So Elden Ring is a game that I would. It's verified on the Switch or on the Steam Deck. That's to me is amazing. And like I said, I've been playing or Control. I want to play Control, another AAA game. And so, like I said, I can't wait till you get yours because you're gonna see the power that the Steam Deck has. And the screen is while it is larger than than the Nintendo Switch.
Hmm.
Um, the way that it looks, I just man, it just looks amazing. The way that it feels in your hands, the way that it's just so comfortable to play, you know. When we put the kids to bed and we're up in our bedroom and we have a TV show going on and I'm sitting in the chair and I could just fucking put up my Switch and play a game. It's
Hmm.
amazing.
Yeah.
Um, so here's another thing that's I think overlooked too. The
Hmm.
Nintendo Switch is very clicky. It's got a loud click to it when you push buttons and stuff on there.
Sure.
Um, the Steam Deck is not. It's
Hmm.
got a soft touch, so it's not going to annoy people. Um, so before, like with the Nintendo Switch, it's hard to play that game if like Jen is sleeping or whatever. Like I got to leave the room um, because I don't
Yeah,
want to wake
because
her up because it clicks.
yeah, you can hear all of that.
Yeah,
Mhm.
it's not so much the case with the Steam Deck. Um, the D-pad is amazing. It's not some weird 4-button layout like the freaking. Have you ever tried to play a D-pad game on the Switch with the original Joy-Con? It
Oh,
sucks.
I don't like it at all.
It
I don't.
sucks. Try to play Street Fighter. It sucks. Why in God's name did Nintendo decide that? Obviously, because they wanted you to take the Joy Cons off and have two people play each Joy Con, whatever. Um,
Hmm.
the D pad on this Steam Deck is amazing. Um, I don't know what else to say about it, man. I mean, it's not as heavy as people say it is. Um, it's not as big as people say it is. I think it's a perfect size. I think the ergonomics are freaking amazing. Uh, to play some of the games that I played on here, like Tomb Raider,
Hmm.
looks freaking amazing. No, it's not 4K, 240 frames per second on this little small ass screen.
But shoot, it's just fine. That's what it's for. I mean,
Yeah.
it's for you to be able to do what you can with what you have, and I think that's the best part of it. So I think you're solid on that one. But Mike, I'm gonna cut you off at that point because due to all your excitement, and this was supposed to be a conversation, we ended up getting a Steam Deck review.
Oh
And
my
let's
gosh,
be
yeah. We've been out here for an hour and 13 minutes.
yeah. And so the cool thing is that that's just Michael's perception, and then it's about to be a whole nother one once I
God,
get
when you get
mine.
yours, this is gonna be like this is gonna be a whole series of episodes.
Yeah. But that's fun, and I think that'd be a good thing because it'll be interesting to to finally get that as much as we talked about it during our episodes and stuff like that.
Oh, one thing to note that I think
Hmm.
you'll be interested with, and I want to try this out.
Hmm.
OBS is supported on Steam Deck.
Oh, well, that's my thing. That's my jam.
So,
So,
because I was trying to figure out a way to what's a premium way of recording gameplay footage or streaming.
hmm,
Because I'm thinking about my Elgato and everything like that.
yeah,
Nope, you can use OBS on the Steam Deck.
that's solid.
Yeah.
That's solid. That's a
So
game changer for me.
I'm
So,
telling you, the things that you can do with this, we're just barely scratching the surface. And the community that is out there that is dedicated to that has that time dedicated to figure this out is huge.
hmm,
Um, my next big project is to get my emulators on here. Um,
hmm.
and that's going to be huge. You tell me if I can play Mario, my classic Mario games, my Tetris, all that other shit, that's going to be a big. Gosh forbid my family, when Ninja Turtles comes out, uh,
Oh man.
Man, that's gonna be
Hey,
rap.
I'm gonna tell you now. We have to play that as a crew.
Yeah. So I am, of course, excited for when you get yours because I want to test out. I haven't tested out yet, but I want to test out the online multiplayer stuff.
Hmm.
When Ninja Turtles comes out, my God,
Yeah, we're gonna have to
between
do OBS and
yeah,
see how we can record and all the other stuff. That'd be
yeah.
kind of dope. But Mike, let's go ahead and stop there for today. And then, like I said, hopefully, fingers crossed. And you know what? Part of me hopes. Well, no, I hope that the email comes next week, and then as you know, us talking off mic, I'm doing bathroom renovations. Did I get that shit done? Because by the time that Steam Deck comes in, I know me. The bathroom will still be
Take a
missing
back seat.
towel. Yep, it'll take a back seat real quick. And my wife doesn't say anything, but boy oh boy, I can already just sense I would be able to sense the rumblings just coming, and all that good stuff. But this has been another episode of the Nation80 podcast. And I know that we normally, we've been having fun today and all this other stuff. But just for a quick note, we always love to say to keep your imagination up. And after the effects of what's been going on this past week, there's something about that imagination where, you just take that moment to get away of just some of the things that happen in the world. We don't forget it. But it's always great. For example, you have Obi-Wan Kenobi that started this week. Stranger Things started this week.
Yep.
And a few other amazing shows. Of course, Doctor Strange is out there. Bob's Burger, the movie just released.
New Top Gun movie came out this weekend. Started Friday.
Absolutely. Yep, absolutely. So, emotions have been high this week, right? So take some time for yourself, keep your imagination up, and we look forward to seeing you next week for another episode of the Nation80 podcast. And then just remember, I'm coming to a town near Mike soon. So hopefully maybe we can record in person together, something that we haven't done.
Oh, snap.
So that might be big doings right there, but we'll see what happens. So again, keep your imagination up, and we'll see you to the next episode of the Nation80 podcast. Peace.